Gaming's Beat Matt Batrep.
Matthew here from MiniWargaming.com, and welcome back to another Beat Matt Batrep. I think this is episode 7. We're on quite a roll with this. Tonight we're going to be doing a Warmachine battle report. It's going to be myself versus Craaag. If this is the first time that you've ever watched Beat Matt Batrep, let me quickly explain how it works. First off, people go onto the Mini Wargaming forum and challenge me to either a game of 40k, fantasy, Warmachine, or something else that we play here at the club. If they win, they get a $25 gift certificate to the online Mini Wargaming store. Today it's going to be Khador versus Menoth. So let's take a look at the armies and the scenario.
Let's start with Craaag's Protectorate of Menoth. Now, this is a 50-point list. This is not a tiered list. It's being led by Severius. He is an 8 focus warcaster, and his feat sucks the focus out of the other warcaster and basically makes you have one turn with no focus, which is very difficult. He's got a battle group of 4 jacks, 2 heavy and 2 light. First one is a heavy warjack. It's the Vanquisher. It's got a mace and some sort of cannon. Also has a Fire of Salvation, a Blessing of Vengeance with a Repulsor shield, which pushes guys away, and a Redeemer, a guy with a light gun that just has a good rate of fire, so you can put a lot of focus on him and shoot lots. He's backed up by Holy Zealots. This is leader in 9 grunts, and they have fire bombs, and they have a fun little mini feat where they go invincible for a turn. He has a group of Idrian skirmishers, leader in 9 grunts, and these guys are good because they got Pathfinder, they can shoot, and they can charge, and they have all sorts of other fun stuff. And they have advanced deploy. He's being backed up by a Choir of Menoth. These guys basically buff the jacks, and they're very good at making the jacks incredibly effective. Has a Vassal of Menoth, a solo that also helps to buff jacks and do other magic stuff. And then he has 3 racks. This is just a 1-point unit that then deploy as solos, and they just generate focus for the warcaster. So they're not incredibly powerful, but they do help to buff the army overall. Taking a look over at my Khador, I decided to go for a heavy infantry list just to try that for a change, and I have actually something new in here that I haven't played with before, and we'll get right to that. This is all being led by Vladimir. This is not a tiered list because I did bring in Man of Wars, which is not part of his tier. He's got a battle group with 2 jacks. You know, you got to bring in a couple jacks for him. We've got the Kodiak and we've got the Berserker, and so that's the main function of the army. And then the main infantry are 2 full groups of Iron Fang pikemen, and the one in the back here has the unit of attachment with the banner and also the officer. There is 2 groups of Man of Wars. First, the Man of War Demolition Corps. These guys have heavy hitting maces. They can do double hits or just 1 hard hit. Got a group of Man of War Shock Troopers. These guys have higher armor. They can do shield wall and combined attacks. And here's a new one. Got a Man of War Dracoon. There's the model mounted, and when he is falling off his base, then I got the guy on the base as well. So let's take a look at the battleground that we decided to do. I decided to simulate the Khadoran Northern Empire, so we're using our snow table here. And so we just have some terrain, didn't want to pack it too much. This is a 4x6 table, but we put all the objectives in the middle just to make sure we didn't really use the outer edges, because you're supposed to use a 4x4 board. So we've got the church there and the hill and some terrain. Now here you have it with the 3 objectives. We're playing Killing Fields, which basically means at the end of your turn, starting from round 1, every objective you hold, you get a point for. And the first person to 7 points wins, or of course, a caster kill wins. And we decided that to be within range of the objective, you have to be within the half-inch melee range. So now we're going to go for deployment. We rolled off, and Menoth got to go first, so he's going to deploy everything except his advanced deploy. So he's got his caster and his 4 jacks right in the middle. And I believe he has Choir right behind him, because the Choir really just need to stick with the jacks, not really do anything else. They give +2/+2 to like hitting and damage and all sorts of other fun stuff. And then he's putting his Holy Zealots over on his left side, and everything else will be held back in reserve. So I'm marking off my deployment here, and I'm just going to mirror him a bit. I'm going to put Vlad in the middle with his little battle group. And then the hard choice was where to put all my Man of Wars. So I decided to actually put them in the middle so they could kind of drive forward in the middle, because they are slow, so I didn't want them to have to go too far. So by going towards the middle, that way they had less distance that they had to run. And then I put 1 group of Iron Fang pikemen on the one flank on the right side, and I put the other on the left side. Now the one on the left side that I'm about to put on is the one with the unit attachment, so they can go nice and fast. And I'm hoping in the first turn to use that little ability they have, which allows them to move again after they have done their deployment. So in the very first turn I can jump up to that objective and keep him from holding it for too long. Because he has the first turn, it gives me a bit of a disadvantage in that he can run up, grab the objectives, and then it's just a game of catch-up for me where I have to then do my best to push him off and make up for lost time as he gets those points right away. The Steamroller version of this has it so you don't really start getting points until the end of the second turn, and that way it kind of prevents that kind of thing from happening. So we just decided to go with the typical one because the last time we played, we actually played the Steamroller version of it. So he's just doing his advanced deploys, 3 racks, and then his skirmishers, who have Pathfinders, so he might as well put them in the woods to give them the extra defense against any ranged attacks that might happen. And after that, he will have first turn. There is no stealing initiative in Warmachine like there is in Warhammer. So let's just jump right into the Menoth Turn 1. Not a lot happens in Turn 1 with Warmachine, it's more positioning. So first off, he's allocating 1 focus to each of his jacks so they can run, because there's really no attacking they can do in the first turn. And then he's just going to spend that 1 focus on each of them and have them run. Now, the heavy jacks typically have a speed of 4, and the lighter guys have a speed of 5 or 6. So the lighter ones will be able to move up faster. They're taking cover here, getting ready to be able to fire all their rounds in the second turn. So in Warmachine, a lot of war games are like this, but Warmachine is particularly true that the first turn you really have to position yourself well so that you can get ready for the charges and for grabbing objectives and everything else. So he's moving up his other light warjack there, getting ready, and then moving up his choir, of course, so they can buff the units. Actually, that was his warcaster. His warcaster moves up, pulls a focus off of the rack, and if he rolls a 1, 2, or 3, then the rack explodes, and nothing was nearby to die from it, but it is removed from play. So they're only 1 point for all 3, so it's not too big a deal when one dies. Then he moves up his Holy Zealots, and then now he's moving up his choir, just running them to get ready so they can buff their warjacks. His warcaster has a nasty spell, which basically gives him +1 to everybody who's in his control range within 16 inches. That gives him +1 to their melee attack, their shooting, basically +1 to everything, attacking and shooting. Now Vlad has something similar where they get an extra die and then discard the lowest, so it's more effective, but it costs 4 focus. His costs 3 focus, and he upkeeps his just for 1 focus a turn. So you saw the skirmishers jump up and grab the objective. Vlad is going to start off in Khador by casting the Blood of Kings, because there's no point doing Signs of Importance yet. And my Iron Fangs are going to do their little mini feat, which allows them to move after they finish their activation. So I'm just going to do it all at once. So they basically are running and then moving, so they can move up to 18 inches, except for the officer, who can only move 12 inches, because basically he's not allowed to move in the extra one. And then they're all under shield wall. And then my jacks, both of my jacks actually can run for free. The Kodiak can run for free, and the Berserker can run and charge for free. And then Vlad's just going to move up behind them and just hold on to his focus and do nothing else. The other Iron Fang don't want to die too quickly, so they are going to move up and keep shield wall, so they're not going to run up or anything. And then my Man of War Dracoon is going to run up and get himself in a position so that when the Holy Zealots move up, he can countercharge them. He has a countercharge special rule, so if anything comes within 6 inches of his line of sight, he can immediately countercharge them and make an attack. So I want to be able to deny him being able to take objectives too easily. So we're already finished round 1. As you can see, it's pretty fast. It's just a bit of positioning. Let's take a look at the board really quickly. You can see a lot of my metal is moving up, and he's got his response on the opposite side. It's almost a mirror image here. Both of us ran for that one objective, but of course he gets the point for it because he had it at the end of his round, and it's contested at the end of my round. So that's the big advantage he has of going first. Now I had to do a bit of catch-up. So the current score is 1-0, because he was able to get that objective and I was not. And so now is going to go into round 2, where he's going to start. Obviously he's going to be in range of shooting, and he's got a lot of targets to take down. So stay tuned for round 2 to see what happens with Khador versus Menoth.
Visit miniwargaming.com to see our videos 1 month early.